Hi guys and welcome to MotorBeam. As all of you know, the BS6 emission norms kicked in India from the 1st of April 2020, and because of this, a lot of manufacturers had to discontinue their cars which weren't BS6 compliant. In this video, I'll tell you the top 10 cars which got discontinued because of the new BS6 emission norms. Before we get started, don't forget to hit the like button, share the video with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to the MotorBeam channel. At number 10, we have Nissan, who has discontinued not one but 3 cars, that is the Nissan Micra, the Nissan Sunny and the Nissan Terrano. Now the Micra, the Sunny and the Terrano used to come with a 1.5 litre diesel engine in different states of tunes. But this engine isn't BS6 compliant. In fact, this engine was shared with the Renault Duster and the Renault Captur also. Now, this diesel engine isn't BS6 compliant, while the petrol engines on the Micra, the Sunny and the Terrano weren't made BS6 compliant either. Yes, the petrol engine on the Renault Duster is the same that is offered on the Nissan Sunny and the Nissan Terrano, and that has been made BS6 compliant, but Nissan won't be launching BS6 versions of these cars because the sales and the demand are very low. The Nissan Kicks, however, is expected to get a BS6 petrol version soon. Next in the list is Tata Motors, who has discontinued the Bolt and the Zest. Now the Bolt and the Zest were launched way back in 2014 to replace the Indica Vista and the Indigo CS. These cars offered a huge improvement over the older cars from Tata Motors. These cars had better quality and more features. However, the design reminded people of the older cars, which is why the sales didn't pick up. Yes, these cars went on to become popular in the taxi segment, but recently sales again started falling and they were at an all-time low. Now, the engines on the Bolt and the Zest weren't BS6 compliant, which is why Tata Motors has pulled the plug on the Bolt and the Zest. Also, Tata now has the Tiago and the Tigor in the portfolio, and these cars are BS6 compliant. They are also bringing in a decent number of sales, which is why Bolt and the Zest aren't needed. Next in the list is the Honda BR-V. Now the Honda BR-V was launched as a replacement to the older Honda Mobilio, and it was a clear rival to the Maruti Ertiga. However, the demand for the BR-V hasn't really been that high. The petrol engine of the BR-V was shared with the Honda City, while the diesel engine was shared with the Amaze and the City. Now both these engines are BS6 compliant, as we have seen on the City and the Amaze, but sales of the BR-V have been low, which is why Honda has pulled the plug on this model. Also, it is possible that Honda is probably making space for a new model in the assembly line. Next in the list is the Renault Lodgy. Now, the Renault Lodgy is a 7-seater MPV which was positioned in the same segment as the Maruti Ertiga and the Honda BR-V. The Renault Lodgy shares a lot of mechanicals with the Renault Duster, and this car has a very good ride quality and a very tough and robust suspension. It came with a 1.5 litre diesel engine, and as we all know, this engine isn't BS6 compliant. While the Lodgy wasn't really popular with private buyers, it did find a good amount of popularity in the taxi segment. Now, because the diesel engine isn't BS6 compliant, Renault has discontinued the Lodgy. Now we have the Volkswagen Ameo. This car was launched in 2016 as a filler between the Polo and the Vento. This car was initially offered with a 1.2 litre MPA petrol engine, which was replaced by a new 1 litre MPI engine, while the diesel engine has been a 1.5 litre TDI unit. The diesel engine was also offered with a 7-speed DSG automatic transmission. Now, the Volkswagen Ameo was known for its good build quality, and even the driving pleasure that it offered was pretty good. However, this car lacked space at the rear, and it couldn't be as popular as some of its rivals. Sales of the Ameo have been quite low, which is probably why Volkswagen couldn't justify the investment to make it BS6 compliant. Meanwhile, Volkswagen has made the Polo and the Vento BS6 compliant by installing new engines. Now we have two very popular cars from the Toyota stable, the Etios and the Etios Leva. Now these cars were introduced in the Indian market long back. These cars offered good fuel efficiency, very good reliability, but they were a bit basic. However, sales for both these cars have been decently good. Now the Etios Leva came with a 1.2 litre petrol engine or a 1.4 litre diesel engine, while the Etios Sedan got a 1.5 litre petrol engine or a 1.4 litre diesel engine. Now, none of these engines have been made BS6 compliant. Also, sales of both the Etios siblings have been falling because of the arrival of new modern rivals. The Toyota Etios Cross, which was nothing but a crossover version of the Etios Liva, has also been discontinued. Toyota also has the Glanza in their portfolio now, which is a hatchback based on the Maruti Baleno. The next siblings in this list are the Fiat Linea and the Fiat Punto. Now these cars were also introduced long back, maybe more than a decade back, and they came with a variety of engines. The Punto got a 1.2 litre naturally aspirated petrol, a 1.4 litre naturally aspirated petrol, a 1.3 litre multi-jet diesel, and of course the Abarth version had a 1.4 litre T-jet petrol. Meanwhile, the Linea got a 1.4 litre naturally aspirated petrol, a 1.3 diesel, and the T-jet version had a 1.4 turbo petrol. Needless to say, none of these engines have been made BS6 compliant, and this diesel engine was also offered on a lot of Maruti, Tata and Chevrolet cars. While the Punto and the Linea were always known for their engaging driving feel, sales of these cars were never high. Also, these cars started feeling outdated, and the arrival of modern rivals in these respective segments meant that sales for Fiat were quite negligible. It did not make financial sense to upgrade these cars to BS6, which is why they have been phased out. At number 3 in the list is the very popular Skoda Octavia. Now the Octavia was in its third generation in India. The first generation Octavia had started Skoda's journey in India, while the second generation of the car was called the Laura. The third generation Octavia was launched in 2013 and it got a midlife facelift in 2017. Now this car was offered with 3 engines, a 1.4 litre TSI, a 1.8 litre TSI and a 2 litre TDI. The Octavia was always known as a driver's machine and it had very good build quality and a good amount of technology on offer. Now the 4th generation of the Octavia is already out in global markets and this car is expected to arrive in India only next year. Until then, Skoda won't have the Octavia for sale over here. At number 2 in this list is the highest selling car in the world, the Toyota Corolla. Now in India, the Corolla was offered with a 1.8 litre naturally aspirated petrol engine or an underpowered 1.4 litre diesel engine. Initially, the Corolla was the highest selling car in its segment and it offered tons of reliability and a good amount of comfort. It was known as a no-nonsense car. However, Toyota is now focusing on its partnership with Suzuki, and while globally you get a new version of the Corolla, the same won't be launched in India. At number 1 in this list is an iconic car, a car which was first launched more than 20 years back, and that is the Tata Safari. Now the latest version of the Safari was called the Safari Storm and it was available with a crazy Varico 400 diesel engine. This car got a 6-speed manual gearbox and 4x4. The Safari was always known for its road presence, its comfort and its off-road abilities. The 2.2 litre diesel engine on the Safari hasn't been made BS6 compliant and Tata Motors is honestly focusing on new cars like the Harrier and the Gravitas. While the Safari has always been a very good car, the sales weren't really that high. In fact, the Safari's closest rival, the Mahindra Scorpio, fetched a lot more sales. Now while the Scorpio has been made BS6 compliant, the Safari is unfortunately discontinued from the Indian market. This car will always be remembered by pure SUV lovers. So this was the list of the top most cars that have been discontinued owing to the new BS6 norms. Apart from these cars, even a few not so popular cars like the Honda Accord and the Mitsubishi Outlander and Pajero Sport have been phased out from the Indian market. A special mention goes to the Renault Duster, which has been upgraded to meet the BS6 norms, but now it doesn't come with all-wheel drive. Yes, the Renault Duster with all-wheel drive was a very capable compact SUV. If you have any car from this list, do let us know in the comment section below. Stay safe and take care.